Uncensored. A lot of people don't get, blessed enough to get one of those, man.
Right.
What do you feel like people don't know about Larenz Tate that we're going to find out about this weekend?
You know what? It's interesting, man. The Uncensored, they do some really great documentaries on people, and just getting a chance to see things from, the actual person, in their own words. And for me, I just feel like it'd be nice for people to kind of get a sense of what my journey has been over a 30+ year career in the entertainment industry. Me trying to avoid as many pitfalls because there's plenty of them out there, balancing a career with a family now, a wife and 4 children, just some in-depth things about, filming projects like Love Jones, but also my own personal experiences coming from Chicago, living in Los Angeles, and away from, the entertainment scene, like what life was really like, because, I come from humble beginnings, man. I come from the West Side Chi, and, we built a little differently, we move a little differently. So, I had to just keep in mind that, no matter what life presents, any hurdles or obstacles, I just got to do all things with integrity. Even if it's some things I ain't so proud of, I just try to, keep in a level of integrity. So
I definitely feel like you've always done that. You've always found a way to pretty much stay out of the BS and the rumors and the gossip, but you're pretty open about your stuff as well. And I know one thing you did say, and you mentioned your kids and your wife, you said that you and your wife weren't sleeping in the same bed together because she was too fertile. Now, I know we've been going through quarantine and a lot of things have been happening over quarantine. Did that rule change lately? Or
what? Let me just say this. I said that when I was doing an interview, and I think people kind of took it out of a whole nother level. It was a tongue-in-cheek joke where I said that, my wife is so fertile, if I touch her, and so I don't sleep in the same room. And it's not a rule. That's not the case. So yeah, I sleep next to my wife. That is the rule. One thing about us is that the connection is incredible. And during the shutdown, obviously we've become even more closer in terms as a family, and doing things that are meaningful to us. We're private, but there's no secrets. You know what I mean? I think sometimes people think about one's privacy, it's secrets. And, in my own personal life, there's no writer, there's no director, there's no lights and cameras. It's like the real deal. So I don't need to put that on daily blast, or highlight those things. I mean, that's what's happening in real time. And that's the one thing that I can sort of control, my wife and I can control in terms of our family structure. Everything outside of that, is up to the world. And so, during a shutdown, there's no babies, I don't think, unless you. But we're happy with the 4 children that we have. I mean, my wife would love to expand the family. She's just the kind of person that would love to have 10, 15 children if she could. But I'm like, that costs money. And more than anything, I got to be honest, it's really about the time that is spent. We have 4 sons, ranging from, my oldest boy starting high school right now. He's 14, to my baby who will be 2 years old next week. So we got a lot going on, but it's beautiful because right now we're able to really find the silver lining, and having to be forced to stay within our own, sort of bubble, if you will. And out of that has come some really cool stuff, like, the standards and principles that we want to teach our boys are like essential. And that's important right now, because I don't want them growing up, just the basic things. I always tell my wife, we're raising young men. So they have to have a level of responsibility. They have to have the integrity that I talk about. Mediocrity should not be the standard, you know, try to put their best foot forward. It doesn't matter what they're doing, if it's house chores, if it's their homework or their studies, whatever it is. And so we've been able to really hone in on that family life, and it's important.
Now, Larenz, having 4 boys myself, we could probably identify with a few things. Which 2 of your boys fight the most? Because I know it's happening. Like, yo.
Probably say my oldest and my second oldest, the 14 and the 12-year-old. But now they kind of got their own spaces and their own world. So we have tried to make sure that they can, you know, de-escalate any issues because they're on top of each other. And my oldest boy, he's a big boy. So my 12-year-old don't really want to see him, you know. So my oldest boy, like he's outgrown me. So I'm like, he got that grown man strength. So you don't really want that smoke, you know what I mean?
Once you get to that age, that's the type of damage that don't heal. You know what I'm saying? Like anytime between like 2 to like 10, like, you know, you get cut, you break something, you like Wolverine, you're gonna bounce back. But 14 is permanent.
Yeah, it's permanent. So I just told him, I said, listen, man, you don't really want that smoke to my 12-year-old. But, you know, they find their ways to, you know, deal with their issues. And we try to let them sort out their own, if they have differences or their spats, let them figure it out. And, you know, my third boy, he'll be 7 very soon. And so he and the 12-year-old are actually really close. It's a thing. The 2 middle ones, they're pretty close. And then I see the best in all of them when they deal with our youngest boy. You know, they really share a lot of love and time with him. They're really helpful. And now that the older 2 can kind of be self-sufficient, like my oldest son, he's in the kitchen, he's whipping up his own dinners and his own food, like, but he's for real. Like, it's no joke. It's like legit. You know, he is like he might want to, you know, go into
that.
Yeah, and I told him, I said, listen, if you want to go into the culinary business and be a chef, that's cool. But here's the deal. Why don't you own the business? Why don't you, we try to instill ownership. You know, it's great that you'll be able to learn everything about that business as you possibly can, because you could possibly franchise something, or you can create a product that you can potentially, you know, sell in the future. So I said, you know, if that's something that you're interested in, man, there's so many avenues that you can take. But he just has a love and a joy for getting in there and whipping it up. And, you know, he also likes to box. So he liked to throw hands. So I got the, you know, the heavy bag and the speed bag for him. And then he and the 12-year-old, they like to throw hands a lot. And the 6-year-old, he gets in there and he throws.
Getting in there too.
Like everybody except the 2-year-old. Like, he's gonna get there.
Right.
Based off the path you're explaining, they all gonna be there. Because even my 3-year-old, he be trying to wail on the older ones. Like, he just do what basically is gang activity.
Listen, I'm gonna try to tell you, it's an organization, is what it is. Gang can't mess with them. Trust me, man. Like, even the little one, he tries to get in there, throw hands, and, you know, it's that energy. You know, it's a lot of testosterone in the house. So I always say, listen, you know, mom is the queen, you know what I'm saying? So Queen Mommy, you know, y'all gotta, you know, treat her with a lot of love and care and tenderness, you know what I'm saying? So y'all got to do that. And I try to display that as much as I possibly can with my wife, because one thing that we decided, like, once we started having children, we was like, look, we have to be on the same page when it comes. You can keep your individuality, but when we're raising and rearing these children, we have to have a common ground. I saw that with my mother and father, who it's a blessing they're still together. And they all, you know, even though they had differences, they found a way to come together, especially when it came to making decisions for us. So I often show as much respect and love and display that for my wife, also because it's genuine, but I also want my children to understand how to treat women and understand that women are different from us, but are super special. And you gotta have some balance, and it's not like a woman has to stand behind you. She's beneath you. You know, you have to respect her as the queen that she is, especially if it's somebody that you're in love with.
Right. Now you also have, and instead of y'all fighting each other, you're actually fighting together to make a change. And you have the Tate Brothers Foundation. Now, how did y'all come about that together? And you know, what's the most exciting thing for you about your foundation?
Well, my brothers and I are incredibly close. They're my business partners. They're my best friends. And our parents always said, listen, man, it's the further you go, y'all got to give it back on some level. And we thought, like, what do we do? Because there's so many different things that we want to be a part of. And with our foundation, there was something that at the time was a big to do that didn't get a lot of, you know, light and shine, and that was the sickle cell disease.
Right.
And we've had family and friends who have lived with it, who dealt with it, and it predominantly affects Black people, you know, people of color. So yeah, we wanted to shed a light on that. My father is in education field, so we've always, you know, pushed education, whatever, if it's learning in your, you know, institutions of you know, grade school, grammar school, middle school, high school, and college or university, or just outside of that, you know, always pushing the narrative to learn as much as you possibly can, especially when you're trying to learn about who you are as a people, especially black, you know, folk, and specifically, you know, Black boys, because we are three brothers. We always, you know, trying to find ways to reach back to young Black men, uplift them, try to redirect them, keep them on the right track, to inspire them and to motivate them to understand that, you know, our history didn't start with slavery. Turn the pages further back, and, you know, you'll find a lot of our history has been distorted, and other people have taken credit for so many things. And so we, you know, those are the kinds of things that I'm excited about doing. Always trying to find ways to uplift, you know, people that look like me and look like us, and on that journey.
It's a never-ending saga, man. We appreciate you continuing to fight. Now, when you look at your body of work, you've been getting to it for a long time. You know, you started doing this at a period in time where there wasn't a lot of people in that space, you know, like really leading it. So, like, you know, as far as like when you were going auditions, who would you run into the most at the same auditions for things that you were going out for? Because, you know, at one point in time, it was just a few of y'all.
Right. You know, interesting. You know, it's how we kind of did things, man, honestly, because I have two brothers. Anytime we had those auditions, I never went into those rooms with groups of folk. Gotcha. I always back, because this was sort of my rule or my tool. When I go and audition, people are talking, and they kind of, you know, can be a distraction. So what I would do is, and my brothers, we all did this, we would send like the pawn out there, you know what I mean? So my brothers would go in there and sign me in, because you gotta and see who's all in the room. So they'll go and scout. So I send scouts out first. And people that we knew, we were like, nah, let's not chop it up with them. And it's not because we're throwing shade, because we're gonna get into a whole bunch of personal stuff. So it's now Larenz talking to whomever that is. And so I would do that same thing with my brother Lamar. So sometimes people would think that I'm auditioning for that role, but I'm really not. I'm just pretending like but it's really my brother, so he can stay focused. And at the time, I mean, I would say there was a lot of, the names I can think of would probably be like, you know, Omar Epps, there was Mekhi Phifer. Although we were in kind of different, those were certainly my peers, brothers that I respect. I still respect, that are good friends to this day. Guys like Tay Diggs, you know, a lot of those guys that, you know, had tons of success in the 90s. Every now and again, I would bump into Terrence Howard and a few other folk. But, you know, because I look kind of young, sometimes they were able to. Yeah, no, I'm talking.
Like, real talk, because like you got the Why Don't Fools Fall in Love poster behind you.
You look exactly the same in that picture as right now.
You just let your facial hair grow out. That's the only difference.
And you got braids now. You got braids too, huh?
Yeah, I got they underneath, they not really popping at this moment. That's why I'm yeah. But yeah, during the shutdown, I grew my hair out. But yeah, so I would go up against some of these guys, and they could have a little bit of edge because I didn't want to stay in the same, space as, let's say, the old dog or the inkwell, the young. I want to jump up, but a lot of the casting agents or directors like, oh, you know what? Kind of a little too young for this. And I'm like, nah, but those are my peers. You know what I'm saying? I grew up with your hair. It's like, yeah, you kind of look like you might be starting college, and these guys grown men. And I'm like, wait a minute, I am a grown man. So
who's the youngest person that they made you play, knowing damn well personally that you were way too old to be that person?
You know what? I've always actually was a lot younger than the roles that I played. So I never really had to play anything that was super young, even though I was too old. Because let's say in Why Do Fools Fall in Love, I started the character Frankie at 15.
Right.
And when he passed away at 26. And so I think I was like 22 when I did that movie. So I was able to go down to 15 to 26 when I did Why Do Fools Fall in Love. In Love Jones, I was a lot younger than the character actually was. He was supposed to be like 26. They were like 20s. They was mid-20s, like 26, 27. But I was like 21 when I did that movie. I was young. You know what I mean? So I always have to sort of play up my age because of the roles for so-called leading men aren't 21-year-olds or 20-year-olds.
I definitely want to talk about Love Jones because you talked about a sequel. Now, how possible would that sequel be? Because I see Nia Long is getting back to it for real. She's out here doing a few things. So, and I noticed that you like to get naked too, from Power to Love Jones. We ready to see you naked on the screen again. No offense, wife, but it's nice.
What's great about my relationship with my wife, she understands. Like, I still am the guy in the movies, and because I was that before I met her. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So she totally understands, and
she was really lusting over you too in Love Jones. She was like,
maybe she was. She's a big Menace fan, so she like dog. But no, I mean, Nia and I have tried for so long to do a sequel because we thought it would be great for the people. The story sort of left open-ended. We didn't know what happened to them. And for years, audiences have asked and fans have asked, how can we do a sequel? And we've tried. But the times that we tried, it's just like the planets just didn't line themselves up. Whether it was timing, whether it was the script. And it really came down to that. It's like, you got to make sure if we were to do a sequel, it would have to be so incredible. And the scripts that we've read just didn't mark. And we was like, yo, we can't tarnish that. It'd be better to just leave it in a capsule and put it in a time capsule, and people just bring it out, and as opposed to trying to recreate that. And so we've talked about many things to do together, but we still have to say, like, it has to be equal, if not better than Love Jones.
Right.
And how do you do that? And so that's been one of the toughest things with she and I, because we call each other all the time. When there's a project going on that I might have or she might have, she'll call and say, yo, is this the one? What do you think? I'll read it or she'll read it. and we'll either say yay or nay, because it has to, you know, Love Jones. Listen, y'all, Love
It was
Jones.
a classic. Listen. Did
Y'all
y'all two ever date though, Larenz? Did y'all two ever date, you and Nia Long?
Nia Long and I have always been super close. You know what I mean? That's you know, dating. You know, I don't kiss and tell. Let me just say that.
The reason why you don't see him in the blogs and the tabloids, my man know how to.
Right, okay, I respect it. I respect it.
Listen, Queen Nia Long has always had a special place in my heart, and she always will. You know, we were just texting each other the other day, just because, given the fact what happened to our dear brother Chadwick Boseman, God rest his spirit and his soul that continues to live on, I just felt like the need to just reach out to a lot of different people. And Nia certainly was one of the people, of many people that I reached out to, just to let them know that I love them.
Right.
Told her I loved her. She sent the love back. And, you know, one of those things, like I said, like with my situation with my wife, like things like that doesn't affect her. Like there's no insecurities. You know, if she sees a text from me alone that says, I love you, or whatever it is, it's not something that's going to be weird or strange, or any other actresses that I'm still friends and very close with. And, you know, that's important. But, you know, I love her dearly, and I have a great relationship and a connection with a lot of the people that I've worked with in the past. I may not talk to them all the time or see them all the time, but, you know, like I got my first film with the Hughes brothers, Alan and Albert Hughes, the directors who directed Menace to Society. I was just on the phone with Alan last night, texting back and forth. And also Tyron Turner, who played Kane. That's my day one. And when we talk like for hours. And I'm always calling him. I'm like, yo, what's up? You know, we talk. You know, I don't get a chance to talk to Jada as much. She and I worked in Menace. We worked in Inkwell. We also did Girls Trip together. But you know, the bond and love and respect is there, as well as with Leela and Vivica and Hallie has always been super, you know, dear to me. Certainly a personal love that I have for her and forever. And so it's great. And I still keep that bond. And when you're working in the industry, you try to find people that, you know, that either can inspire you or people that can motivate you. And I can say that about Hallie. The one thing about, she's always pushed me to be incredibly business savvy. Like her business, like she's incredible. Like it's like mind blowing. And so you find people that can, you know, give you that inspiration and that motivation. And when you are able to connect, you know, it's forever. You know what I mean? So, and I've been, there's not many people that I've worked with along the way that I've fallen out with,
right?
Because, you know, I feel like my ego is in check, and, you know, I care about people's, you know, feelings just as much as I care about my own. So, you know,
a very lit first name basis Rolodex. I mean,
it's
like
so crazy.
Just from just casually roll it out, and we know exactly what we talk about, but it's just so casual. There's a lot to be excited about, man. You know, you got Uncensored this weekend on TV One. You know, we know that Power, the second book, is actually popping off this weekend. Will there be any Councilman Tate pop-ups in there? Because I know you got your own situation coming too. You know,
or
but
his booty.
You might see a pop-up or two. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yay. But listen, the Power spinoff is really dope. It's great. And the timing is amazing because, you know, everybody's forced to, you know, be at home. And there hasn't been a lot of great TV, in my opinion, since, you know, Power. And so to see where it continues as it lives, it's really, really fly. And I'm excited about it. Courtney Kemp, who created the show, along with 50 Cent. I mean, they just know how to do great television and storytelling. So I think that people will really be intrigued by it. You can watch the Power spinoff first. And once that's done, you guys can go over and check out my TV One Uncensored, you know, my story, me telling my story. I felt like it was time to do it after, you know, 3 decades. I say it's time, because I found that you know, people get into the entertainment industry and they get success after 3 or 4, maybe 5 years, and they're like, I got to do my book. I got to tell my.
Not yet.
Really, I just always felt like I need some time. You know, I need some experience.
You got 3 books in you now, at least.
You are far from done.
Oh no. And for me, and I appreciate that, and I definitely feel like there's so much more for me to do. There's so much stuff that I want to do. My brothers and I, we have a production company, Tateman Entertainment, and we've been producing projects. You know, we produced a project along with Queen Latifah and her Flavor Unit brand, which is called Deuces. That's on Netflix. We did that a few years back.
Oh yeah, I like that. I like that movie. That was a good one.
We produced that. We produced another little project with Kyla Pratt for BET Her. It's called Back to the Good Life. We, you know, just strictly producing projects. And, you know, we have a couple documentaries that we're working on, just about the social climate of what's happening. We also have a movie that's coming out that I'm starring in, that we produced. It's called Business Ethics. It's about a brother who's in the money management world, and you know, he comes from a very successful firm that deals with people's money, but it collapses and he hits rock bottom. And the only way for him to get up in his mind is to create a Ponzi scheme, and creates this scheme to get millions of dollars out of his clients. He didn't think it's going to work, but it does. And so I thought it would be kind of cool after seeing a movie like Wolf of Wall Street, you know, with Leo DiCaprio. I was like, yo, it would be kind of dope if we did our version of that, to see a Black man in this predominantly white world dealing with monies. And he ain't stealing no Black people's money. He's
the Robin Hood.
Okay, now
robbing the rich, give it back to the poor, which is sometimes ourselves. Yeah,
it's interesting, but that's coming out, and we did that independently. We wanted to do it independently, and we tried to go to Hollywood to try to get behind it. But you know, sometimes when you have your own perspective and your own narrative, sometimes it doesn't fit into what they want to do, what they feel is palatable to their audiences. And we were like, we're not going to stop. So we're going to be streaming it. And sometimes that's what you have to do. And right. I feel like experience in the industry to be able to put films together and get them out and get them done at a high quality, not just some,
just, yeah.
No,
there's a bunch of those on Netflix too.
Yeah. No, but Deuces didn't look like that. Deuces looked really good. So if it's anything like that, then
yeah, no, it's gonna. And I think it definitely holds up. And it's just a different kind of film. It comes out this fall. I'll be promoting. I'll circle back with y'all and talk a little bit more about business ethics. And also, we produced a project along with Larenz Fishburne. It's an audio series called Bronzeville, and it's about the experiences of, Black folk coming from the South, fresh out of, the Jim Crow era, and making their way up to Chicago and building a life where they're self-sufficient, where Black folks are self-sufficient in the South Side of Chicago, where Black folks own their own hospitals, banks, department stores, grocery stores, you name it. The American dream was attained at a time when we didn't think it would be, much like Tulsa, Oklahoma, much like Rosewood, much like, Harlem in the early 20s. And so we wanted to show what that was. And a part of that self-sustaining business or the, community, it was supported by running numbers. And it was called the policy. And basically you 5 cents will get you $5 if you hit the number. And that was part of how Black folks were thriving. Other communities were either bootlegging at a time because, I'm just saying, coming out of the war, coming out of the Depression, people needed to survive. And Black folks found a way by just, exchanging numbers, running numbers. And eventually other ethnic groups and communities started adopting that. Eventually, the government took it over and it became what is today the Illinois State Lottery. But we started the running the numbers, but
so
now
crazy.
And we still
it's
get
a
the
lot.
booty end of the stick. Cause like, man, I know so many people still be going to get them scratch offs and try to, like, you know, do the numbers and they never hit. But
That was
Never.
our thing. And so we did an audio series that did really, really well. And it was on all platforms, and it was like theater of the mind. So it's almost like watching, if you were to watch one of your favorite movies, but you just, you know, you're just listening to it. It has incredible quality. So we did that. And it had everybody from, like I said, myself, Lawrence Fishburne, Omari Hardwick from Power. We had Tracy Ellis Ross a part of it. My brother Lamar Tate, Tika Sumter. We had a lot of people gave their time and their energy. Mekhi Phifer. We did a second season. We did a first season. We had over 17 million downloads. So we another one. So we're doing a season 2 that'll be out the top of the year. Again, something that we produced, and now we're in a position where that will become a TV series.
That's amazing.
Producing,
That's so
right?
dope. Congratulations.
So,
That's big.
yeah.
Stop, won't stop. That's Larenz Tate right there, man. So, yo, before you run out of here, show's called Uncensored. Power Book 2's popping off. Might see a little cameo, 1 or 2. All right, I want to run this game with you. It's called Uncensored. I know you a raw dude. I saw you at the Rakim show in Chicago. You was on stage with the rest of us, wilding out, having a good time, soaking in the culture. What is your favorite uncensored verse? Go.
Uncensored verse? Oh man, you just put me.
Because sometimes the clean just won't do. We need to hear the language.
Shit. Rakim? Like you want,
just in general, your favorite uncensored verse of all time in hip hop.
Oh man, bro, you got me. You got me. This is
for example, "Fund the Police" doesn't sound as good as "Fuck the Police." You know what I mean? Like,
listen. Now that was mine. You know what I'm saying? Fuck the police coming straight from. Yeah, that was one of my jokes. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Now, Larenz Tate, what is one movie you cannot watch censored?
Dead Presidents.
I was going to say the same thing. It came the other night, and when you was getting into it with my man in the stairway, like when you was coming back with the groceries, the edits didn't hit the same, man. Like, yo, that dude pissed me off every time. And I know he acted, man, but I wanted to beat his ass in real life for you.
The other one I can't watch uncensored is, if it was one of my other films, I would say Menace. Menace just seems weird when they play it on TV, and it's like, you know,
no cursing,
don't hit the same. You know
it takes the gangster away from it a little bit.
Also, Scarface, one of my favorite movies, obviously a hood classic. Scarface, you know, Scarface, you definitely that, and Goodfellas. I can't watch.
Oh, I love Goodfellas.
Uncensored.
Yeah, I remember one of the illest ones I saw was like a Do the Right Thing when my man was trying to get the batteries. D, Mickey, Ficky, D.
Mickey, Ficky.
It took this thing out of it. All right, we keep it uncensored. Larenz Tate is in the building. What is your favorite curse word? Go.
Fuck.
Coming from a man who has 4 children, I can definitely identify with that.
Hey!
Yo, continue success in all you do. Peace and love, man. If people want to follow you, where do they go?
At Larenz Tate. But that's at Larenz Tate, just LARENZTATE. That's the name my mother and father gave me at birth, you dig? So anything else is not real. Larenz Tate.
I also need you to join Lala over on The Shy, because I feel like it's only right. You're from Chicago. I feel like you would fit so well on that show. And I know you're on everything, but it wouldn't hurt to have one more.
You know what Lena is doing over there is incredible. I love Lala. I'm so happy that she's continuously doing her thing. And if the planets lined up and the role was right and it made sense, I'm happy to go and play ball where things are hot. You know what I mean? So
let me and Lo write it for you. I think we got it figured out. You Ronnie's cousin who want to come back and kill the dude who murked Ronnie. Cause like that was real foul. I don't know if you was following the whole thing, man. They played my man Ronnie out of position. Crazy.
Yeah, it's the storytelling that you have to leave that up to the storytellers. You know what I'm saying?
True.
At the end, it's something that's fine, that's dope. It's all good. Who knows? I mean, do I come back and shoot up some folk, or do Or do I change the game? I don't know. I just like to do different things. Just like when I came to Power, I was like, it would be, me and 50 were talking about it, and he wanted me to come in and do the rah-rah, shoot 'em up, old dog, return to old dog type stuff, New York style. But I was like, yeah, we've done that. But when I really connected with, Courtney Kemp, it was either the lawyer that I was going to potentially play that was involved with Tasha. That didn't work itself out. And then I called her up and I was like, yo, just let me know what you want me to do, Courtney. And she says, I got this idea that I'm working on for a councilman, like a politician. Would you be interested? And I was like that.
Perfect.
That coming. So anything that I see, I just want to see something that is in, the realm of decency and good taste. You know what I mean? But
you could run for mayor. You could go against Duda. I think that would be the best thing.
I could play a mayor on the show, or I could play, a president. Let me get the highest office. You know what I'm saying?
Hello.
I spin on what a president would be. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't never seen a president with cornrows before. Here we go.
Hey.
Anything can happen.
If I gotta play, I want to play that president. You know what I mean?
I love it.
President Washington.
Yeah.
It's black as name possible. Yo, Larenz Tate, man, we love you, man. I feel like we grew up alongside of you. Continue the amazing work, not only in the film space, the art space, but also the social space as well. Love what you and your brothers is doing. God bless. Continue success, my man.
Appreciate you, King. Always good seeing you. Appreciate you, Queen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are the Morning Hustle.